Hakan Bey, duyuyor musunuz beni? Tamam. Dear distinguished participants and the speakers of today's webinar, I would like to welcome you all for IP Online Protection in China virtual event. Today, we will give information on how to protect your brand on online platforms and try to get information on protection mechanisms for online businesses. Today, we will have distinguished participants, Mr. Hakan Kızartıcı, Chief Commercial Counsellor of Turkey, and Mr. Taşkın, Commercial Counsellor of Turkey from Beijing Embassy of Turkey, Ms. Rose Hoa from CASA, Ms. Jennifer Sao and Matthias Zubimendi from EU SME Center, and distinguished participants of online platforms, Ms. Xu from Alibaba Group, Mr. Michael Chu from Pinduoduo Group, and Ms. Hua Zhang from JD Group will be speakers of today's event. Now I would like to say a few words in Turkish. Şirketlerimizin değerli yöneticileri ve saygıdeğer katılımcılar. Bilindiği üzere Çin'deki online satış kanallarından yapılan perakende satış hacmi büyük bir hızla artmaktadır. Firmalarımızı Ticaret Bakanlığı olarak genelde ve özelde Çin'deki ticaret müşavirliklerimiz aracılığıyla online platformlarda aktif olarak yer almalarını sağlamak için cesaretlendirici ve bilgilendirici birçok faaliyet yaptık. Ancak Çin'deki online platformlarda yer almak adına yapılması gerekli altyapı çalışmaları yer almakta olup bunlardan en önemlisi markanızı koruma altına almaktır. Bugünkü toplantımızda markanızı online platformlarda nasıl korumanız gerektiği hususunda faydalı bilgiler vermeyi umut ediyoruz. Bugünkü toplantımız iki kısım halinde düzenlenecek olup ilk kısımda online satış platform yetkilileri, AB KOBİ yardım masası ve kasa yetkililerince İngilizce sunum yapılacaktır. İkinci kısımda ise Ticaret Baş Müşaviri Hakan Kızartıcı ve Ticaret Müşaviri Sezgin Taşkın tarafından firmalarımıza Türkçe bilgilendirme yapılacaktır. Firmalarımızın özellikle ikinci kısımda müşavirliğimizle sunulacak Türkçe bilgileri kaçırmamalarını öneriyoruz. Distinguished guests can leave their questions through chat. In the case that we have enough time, we will be answering the questions. Now, I would like to give the floor to Ms. Jennifer Sao from SME Center, Beijing. Dear Jennifer, floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. This is Jennifer from China IPRSME Helpdesk. Thank you for this chance to show you a brief picture about our organization. China IPRSME Helpdesk is a European Union fund project which is designed to help European SME with their intellectual property rights in mainland China, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. All this is service we provide, like inquiry helpline, like the events, and also some business tools on the website to support EU SME. All services are free of charge. For example, if you have any IP-related question, just send us to this question inquiry helpline. Normally, you will receive a reply with 3 working days. About events, like we cooperate with some business associations, cluster of organizations, embassies, and Chamber of Commerce to organize some basic topic IP-related event or some specific issue like webinar, more like this time. If you're interested, please just check our website. All event schedule are available on the website. About this website, besides the event all of China and Europe, you will find more various resources about IP issue, and e-learning modules, broadcast, or an infographic, or case studies. The website also contains a comprehensive library about IP, all major IP tips, I would like to say. For example, the trademark, copyright, trade secret, or even GI. Meanwhile, you will also find some industry-specific guides like IP in Industry 4.0 or IP in about how to remove the counterfeit product from e-platform, or how to get support at customer service, customer duties, and etc. So that's all about us. For any IP questions, please feel free to send to us at any time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's quite impressive to hear that you provide all of these information and the support for free, right?
Yeah. All our service is free of charge.
Okay, thank you for your support, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Matthias Zubomendi from China IPRSME Helpdesk, who is expert on trademark and copyright issues. Welcome, Matthias.
Thank you, Gur. Welcome everyone to my part of the presentation. With me, we are going to check and learn what are the main and most relevant intellectual property rights for e-commerce. We will also discuss what are the main principles, because these principles are very important to understand how to protect IP rights from abroad, and especially the ones that are very, very meaningful in the sense of without complying with certain rules, we won't receive any type of protection here in China. So we have to understand the main and most basic rules before applying or before trying to enforce any right in any of the e-commerce platform. We will also learn how to develop a strategy and how to react when we see that one of our products is being copied. But let's begin with the very basics. What intellectual property rights are relevant for e-commerce? What IP should I pay attention to before coming to China, before creating a profile in any e-commerce platform? The most relevant one is the trademark, the name of the company, the name of your products, any sign that your company can use to distinguish any product from the ones of your competitors, then this can be seen as a trademark. This is very important, or I would say this is the most important intellectual property right when we talk about e-commerce, because it's the way or the keyword that consumers will use for looking for your products and for looking for you as a company. The second most important one, I would say, is copyright. Copyright protects the expression of an idea, not the idea itself. It protects how certain concept, how certain idea is expressed. It can be, in examples, it could be pictures, it could be text, it could be videos. Anything that can be disclosed in an e-commerce platform can be protected also for copyright. We can also protect by copyright, for example, the logo of a trademark. For example, our logo contains an animal, a picture, a draw. Then this can be protected in two different ways, trademark and copyright. Our suggestion is always to go with the protection with the two types of intellectual property rights. The more protected we are, the better. The more protected we are, more elements we will have to claim compensation, and more chances we will have to remove any infringing products. The third intellectual property right that is relevant are the industrial designs. Industrial designs are protected with design patents. Design patents protect the shape of a product, how it looks. It's only the aesthetic aspect of a product. It only protects how it looks, not any functionality of the products. If we talk about technology, if we talk about the functionality, then we have to go to a different intellectual property rights that are invention patents or utility models, which can still be enforced in e-commerce platform. However, it's going to be much more complicated to prove that the product that is being disclosed contains your technology. It's easier to enforce it as long as it is visible, for example, with the design, with the trademark, with the copyright. The The following element is trade secrets. Trade secrets is any information that your company has, any knowledge that your company has about your product that hasn't been disclosed and it is not known by your competitors. It is important in e-commerce the same way it is important, for example, for the trade fair. Your company should be very careful to not disclose any trade secret when advertising online. This is particularly important in the case of technologies or in the case of designs. If you show your technology, if you show your design online, most likely you will be affecting a potential future patent. If you disclose your trademark before doing the registration, you increase your chances of being copied. So any information that has not been public, please treat it as a trade secret. Please do not disclose it. And every time you're creating a profile, every time you are creating, disclosing information, double check that you are not affecting the potential protection of a future intellectual property right. Finally, the last intellectual property right that is relevant for e-commerce is the domain name. That is going to be the online address of your company. This is not particularly useful for the e-commerce platforms themselves, but will allow you to create your own store, your own channel, with your own website. But let's talk also about the main principles, and these are I believe the most important part of my presentation, because later with the companies you will learn about the details and characteristics of each one of them. But these principles are general and they affect intellectual property rights in general for China. The first one of them is the registration principles. This means that if you want to have an intellectual property right in China, you need to do a registration for it. If you don't have your trademark register, if you don't have your design register, if you don't have your copyright register, then you will receive no protection in China. And period. You have to do the registration as soon as possible. This principle has also a secondary principle that is called the first to file rule. This means that the individual or the company that starts a registration will receive a priority over any other future registration, even though if that first registration is done in bad faith. This means that if someone begins the registration of my trademark before me, that person will have a priority, and I will have to prove that that registration is being done in bad faith. This put me in a most difficult situation. It will take longer, it will be more expensive, and the chances of succeeding are gonna be reduced. I will always enter into this uncertainty of if I will be capable of proving that this registration is in bad faith or not. That's why it's very important to do the registration before entering the Chinese market, before entering in a negotiation with a partner, before even making, if it is possible, making it public in any other country of the world or any other trade fair. The second principle is the territoriality principle. This means that the registration done in China will only grant me protection in China. This means that the registration done in Turkey will only grant me protection in Turkey. I won't be able to enforce my Turkish trademark, for example, in China, except if I also have the Chinese registration. So what we learn about this, if we are going to interact with the Chinese e-commerce platform, then we need to have a Chinese trademark register, or a Chinese copyright, or a Chinese design. But if we don't have it, then we won't be able to enforce this intellectual property right with the China-based e-commerce platform. And this combined with the importance of the registration principles, means that if we create a profile in any of the e-commerce platform and we start selling our products, and if it is copied, then we won't be able to do an enforcement because, technically speaking, there is no infringement. That intellectual property right, as long as it is not well protected, technically speaking, can be seen as free to use. In practice, also, it's important to start the registration as soon as possible, because when we learn how e-commerce platform works, we will learn that documents, for example, the registration certificates, they have to be, they're necessary. You will be requested to show, for example, your trademark certificate in order to enforce it. But since the moment we start the registration and we finally, the IP right is granted and we finally get the document, it's going to pass a long period of time. In case of trademarks, for example, it is estimated more or less a year. So it is important to start as soon as possible, because not only we will need the right to enforce, but also we will need to collect all the documents that will be required, prepare them in advance in order to be more efficient and faster. Now, how to develop an intellectual property right protection strategy? How can I defend my intellectual property rights in e-commerce? Generally speaking, the first part is to do some surveillance, to check what is happening in the e-commerce platform, check them regularly, run searches with the keywords of my products, with the keywords of my company, of my brand, keywords of my competitors, to see what is happening, to know who are the main players, if I'm being copied, not, if my trademark is being used or not. We can try, if we cannot write, for example, in Chinese, and the company, the SME, has issues with the language barrier, you will see that e-commerce platforms, most of them, they allow you to run a search just by a picture of your product. And this way, you will be capable of seeing if someone is copying or if there is any similar design, other products using your design, and any other product using your logo, etc. This also gives you the idea that your company should start getting familiar with the IP protection tools that the e-commerce platforms provide. Each one of them will explain it later in details, but they all have intellectual property rights programs, intellectual property rights actions that you can start. It is important to learn with each one of them how to create your profile, how to upload all the information, all your trademarks, how to help them to know about your brand. Because one of the main problems for detecting infringement is that the e-commerce platform, they have not capacity to know all the trademarks that exist, especially those that are famous abroad, but they're not famous in China. So it's not possible, it's not easy for them to know when there is an infringement or not. Your company should provide them as much information as possible. Otherwise, it is not reasonable to expect to be helped. Many of the e-commerce platforms, they proactively look for infringement, but for proactively look for them, they need to know what your trademark, and they need to know that your trademark is registered and protected in China. And how to react when we spot an infringement. The first part is to, instead of immediately reacting, I would say that the first thing you should do is to collect evidence, is to call an expert if necessary, to get as much information as you can, to get evidence in the sense of, for example, to download all the information in a way that is being recorded safely to be used in the e-commerce dispute, or even later, if you go to regular courts, to be used as evidence, legally speaking. There are different methods of doing so. For example, in internet courts, which are a very unique jurisdiction here in China, they accept the usage of digital evidence, such as blockchain, for cases for copyright infringement. So it would be advisable to record all this information in a blockchain so you can use it later as evidence. If it's not possible, you can get a notary to show and to express what is visible on the e-commerce platform. And you will learn also that some of these e-commerce platforms, they provide a service in which you can request a notarized purchase of the product in a way that you request one sample. That sample is by in a very specific way in which all the process, it is notarized and recorded, so you can know that you ordered a product with certain characteristics from a certain seller that arrived to your destination in this or that condition. And this will allow you to prove that this final product that you receive most likely will be copied, or supposedly it is copied, was bought from this particular seller. And this will allow you not only to proceed in the e-commerce platform itself, but later, if your company wants to be compensated, then you will be able to use this as evidence in a regular IP dispute. Because this is another aspect. When we talk about enforcement, we have the notice and takedown system that e-commerce platforms provide. But they only will allow you to take down a link in that particular e-commerce platform. Doesn't mean that the entire problem is solved, because this infringer will still exist and will still be able to use other platforms or other channels for distribution and selling. So it is important to know that besides the tools that the e-commerce platform provide, which are very useful, you also have other actions if you want to proceed even further and go with even more, to get more, for example, compensations, or if you even want to start a criminal prosecution against an infringement. This dispute doesn't finish with the e-commerce platform, but you can also take actions in the offline real world. And for that, you should know that there are different jurisdictions. For example, the internet courts that I mentioned before, which are, in my opinion, one of the most efficient ones, because they allow you to solve a case in less than a month. The average is 27 minutes. But the jurisdiction is restricted to certain specific scenarios. In the case of intellectual property rights, it's the copyright, ownership of copyright and of copyright infringement. But you also have the regular people's courts or the intellectual property right courts, which are specialized for IP, and for complex cases, they are much more efficient. The main difference between the process of the e-commerce platform and going to regular courts is that with the e-commerce, you will only be capable of solving the problem within the e-commerce platform itself. This means that the link will be removed, and if it's a severe case, maybe the infringer will be expelled from the platform. But if you go with regular courts, you will be able to get compensated for the damage your company suffered. So that would be the main goal, to not only be compensated, but also to stop the infringer, to keep copying your IP, and, for example, to stop them to export to different countries. So takeaway messages before giving the floor to the companies, which are the most, I would say, relevant part of this webinar. First, register your intellectual property rights as soon as possible. Don't forget the first to file rule, and don't forget the territoriality rule. If you're not protected in China, if you're not registered in China, you won't be protected, and do it before entering the Chinese market. I cannot stress it more, because this is very important and a key aspect of the protection. create profiles on the e-commerce platform that are of your interest, carry out constant surveillance on e-commerce platform, not only the ones you use, but try to use all of them. When you create your profile, upload all your trademarks or all your intellectual property rights also as soon as possible, because it's where you will be providing information to the e-commerce platform. You will be capable of allowing them to know you and to proactively start protecting your IP for having to be benefited by their own programs of intellectual property rights. They need to know what your trademarks are. If you see an infringement, collect as much evidence as possible before going to court, before starting the notice and takedown procedure. Be proactive in enforcing your intellectual property rights. And if you have any question, if you don't know how to proceed, if your legal department or your lawyer doesn't know how to deal with this scenario, please feel free to contact us, the China IPRSME Helpdesk. In the screen, you have our email address. We normally reply within 3 working days, and we are here to help with any problematic that any company may have. Till here, my part of the presentation. I give back the spotlight to Ugur and the next speaker.
Matthias, it was really very informative. Thank you so much. And thanks for your support with your colleagues to the companies, including from Turkey, in the EU SME Center.
It's our pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Matthias. Now, I would like to give the floor to Ms. Rose Hua from
Thank you.
Anti-Counterfeit Innovation Strategic Alliance, CASA. Ms. Hua, floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, board. I think I cannot share the screen because Matthias hasn't finished sharing his. Okay, that's good. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rose Hua, head of International Cooperation Department of CASA. Here, I would like to thank Embassy of the Republic of Turkey Office of Commercial Counsellor and China IPRSME Helpdesk for giving us the opportunity to jointly organize today's webinar. I also would like to thank our royal members, Alibaba, Pinduoduo, and JD.com, to join the webinar and share their knowledge on how to take IPR protection on each of their platforms. Due to limit time, I'll be giving a brief introduction of our alliance along with a short video. Beijing Anti-Infringement and Anti-Counterfeit Innovation Strategic Alliance is an NGO and NPO organization, which was founded in 2015 by the Vice Premier and Major Department of the State Council, industrial associations, academic institutes, and key enterprises to implement the principle of societal governance on fighting against IPR infringement and counterfeit. Because of CASA's belief, for years, our goal has been just one, that is to protect intellectual property with societal co-governance on matrix-based method. This means with our wide range of member pool from industrial associations, IP-related service providers, agencies, e-commerce and social media platforms, law enforcement, judiciary authorities, and even social volunteers are all here working together to ensure a fast response and action to any counterfeit or infringing case to establish industrial IP governance and upgrade to an international IP protection operation. Our services, we wish to provide all-around protection to our members, from general coordination and promotion of IP to solving infringing or counterfeit cases. CASA is capable of tackling from both online and offline simultaneously, with our fast track supported by our members from e-commerce and social media platforms, and our technical support, such as big data, blockchain. The takedown notice procedure is rapid and efficient. Through our strong connections with local governments and institutions, as well as worldwide communication channels, our offline IP protections can be coordinated equivalently fast and effective. CASA provides different service for different sections of player in the IP field. For foreign enterprises who wishes to enter to China or is already here, we are able to connect you to our entrusted service providers from our member pool and our partners. And these main services include an intellectual property layout at early stage to give a pre-IP infringement prevention and brand protection before entering to Chinese market. Establish the IP protection mechanism to escort your entire business development. Related IP field monitoring and consultation, trading authorization, and infringement and counterfeit identification to make sure that your company will be protected in time. And sharing academic reports and case studies on IP international social dynamics. CASA can also provide custom recordation, and we may connect you to experienced import and export service providers from different harbors if it's needed. And of course, we have members who provide professional service for company establishments such as registration, office finding, staff recruitment, and so on. In the meantime, as our member, you'll be invited to join our major conferences and seminars where business opportunities or cooperation possibilities can be found. For years, CASA has been well known by organizing trainings, webinars, seminars, events, and conferences domestically and internationally with governments, authorities, institutes, and universities, as well as foreign business associations, embassies, and international organizations. CASA has carried out practical cooperation with mainly with EU IPO and its project team IPT China, CBBC as China Britain Business Council, JETRO as Japan External Trade Organization, USCBC as US China Business Council, China IPT Helpdesk, and other organizations. One of our yearly largest events held together with IPT China is the China-EU Conference on IPR Protection, Online and Innovation since 2018. The conference has more than 200 participants, and we have leaders from the Ministry of Commerce, State Administration for Market Regulation, and representatives from Trade Office of the EU delegation to China to deliver speeches on international IP dynamics and academic reports. And we also have e-commerce and social media platforms, lawyers, IP service providers, and right holders to share their online IP protection experiences. For this year, we aim to invite more right holders and enterprises to share their success on online IP protection and exchange experiences. For members, due to limited time, I just will show some of our members that are commonly well known in the public. In recent years, high technology has been used in many fields and playing a major role in supporting IP protection. Most common technical support, such as big data, artificial intelligence, and blockchains, has been well implemented in our daily protection work. On April 26th, World Intellectual Property Day, CASA have launched a one-click protection platform on our website. The English version is still under construction and will be ready very soon. Now I'll play a short video for introduction of our CASA and our newly launched platform.
Nowadays, with the development of knowledge, economy, and economic globalization, intellectual property is increasingly becoming the strategic element for national development and international competitiveness, an important support to build an innovation-oriented country and the key element to grab the initiative in national development. CASA is committed to protect intellectual property and fight against infringement and counterfeiting since its inception. By the support of administration, law enforcement, and judicial departments, industrial associations, e-commerce and social media platforms, enterprises, right holders, and volunteers. CASA has built a unique IPR protection system based on dissociated code governance, mainly by automated dispute resolution, quality control, improving mechanism for IPR complaints, coordinating administrative law enforcement protection, and judicial protection, which promotes the IPR-intensive industry to a higher level. This IPR protection system is formed to effectively fight against IPR infringements and counterfeits, and it has become an important force to effectively coordinate the interested parties in IPR protection for win-win outcomes. Relying on the professional resources and advanced technical support accumulated by CASA for many years, the one-click IP protection platform provides fast, convenient, and efficient complaint protection mechanism for enterprises, right holders, and consumers. This platform safeguards their legitimate rights and makes full use of the advantage of internet, strengthens intellectual property protection through source traceability, real-time monitoring, and online identification to a large extent, solving high costs in IP protection. Our upgraded website can better satisfy users for obtaining anti-infringement and counterfeiting, intellectual property protection, and other related information. To provide enterprises and right holders with convenient and efficient IP protection channels. At present, CASA has absorbed nearly 1,000 members and partners. In the near future, we will remain our original aspiration, forge ahead, and continue to work with our members to provide the construction and perfection of societal co-governance and our intellectual property rights protection system.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attendance, and for further details and membership related questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear Rose.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to ask you a small question. As long as our companies have some IP related problems, when they reach to your organization, probably you have a two-way system, right? For small consultations, you don't ask any service price, but for big cases, when you provide service, I think you are
Yes.
providing them assistance in a very affordable way. Am I right? This is what I have been informed by your organization.
Yes, for the first time, we give a free consultation, and then also, of course, if there's a service needed, and we'll give also a price list for consideration. And then from there, the right holders or enterprises can decide whether to use our service or not.
Okay. To have more clear information on your system, I would like to ask a last question. In the case that the IP rights issue is a bit complicated and needs to be filed on any court, IP court or regular court, do you also provide legal service to companies, or you just forward them to the authenticated lawyer companies?
As an NGO, we only provide services, and also we give forward to our members which are entitled to file the cases and take legal action.
Thanks so much, dear Rose. In the case that our companies will need IP-related assistance, we will forward them to you for your cooperation.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, I would like to welcome Ms. Xu Yang, Brand Protection Cooperation Manager of Platform Governance Department from Alibaba Group. Ms. Rose, can you hear us? Ms. Rose, is your microphone open? Sorry, Ms. Xu, can you hear us?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, we hear you now, Ms. Xu.
Yeah, I'm muted just now, sorry. And I will share my screen. Yeah, and today, my colleague from Brand Protection Corporation, Migran, our director, will also join in our webinar. And the first part, he will share the brand protection IP system at Alibaba. And then I will give an introduction about how to enforce your rights on our platform. Let's welcome Mick first to give the presentation about the Alibaba's IP protection first.
Okay.
Hi there. I just wanted to join the webinar briefly just to say hello to everyone. Thank you firstly to
just a moment, Mick. Welcome. First of all, welcome. Can you speak a bit more loudly? We can hear you we cannot hear you very clearly. Can you try to speak a bit louder?
No problem. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's much better. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, maybe just an issue with my natural voice. So I will try to speak a little bit loudly. So firstly, look, big thanks to the Turkish Embassy and CASA for putting on this webinar. I think it's a really important initiative and great way to get Turkish companies involved with IP protection. I've worked with CASA for many years, so it's wonderful to see you here again. And I've got a special affinity for Turkey, as I've been many times, and I actually used to live in Bodrum for 6 months before, so great to retain the connection with Turkey via this webinar. I'm also glad to see Michael from Pinduoduo and Jianghua, as well as the SME Helpdesk once again. It's good to be on the same stage as you guys. So just briefly about the evolution of the IPR system in the Alibaba Group. We started developing it back in 2002. It's been quite a journey between then and now, and we've developed a very complex and sophisticated system, which includes a mixture of proactive and reactive measures, which are aimed to help rights holders from different countries to be able to protect their rights as effectively as possible on different platforms. And that can include, for example, notice and takedown, which are very well known, but also measures where they utilize Alibaba's technology, such as proactive monitoring algorithms, where we can detect infringements and delist them before they've been subject to a notification. And also working very closely with Chinese law enforcement, which we do together with rights holders to enable companies to get to the source of the counterfeiters and do raids on factories. We also have an alliance of our own called the Alibaba Anti-Counterfeiting Alliance, which now has more than 200 rights holders as members, or more than 700 brands which are part of it. No Turkish brands in that alliance so far, but we would be very open to discuss with any capable Turkish brands. Of course, Alibaba is ourselves a strategic investor in Trendyol, the e-commerce platform in Turkey, and we have a very strong relationship with them as well, including with their legal team. So Trendyol is part of our overall network here in the Alibaba group. So the way that we see our overall strategy includes a couple of things which I've just mentioned. So the takedown requests, and takedown request is something which we feel is the most directly relevant for small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. So Xu-Yang, Emily is going to be talking a little bit how we make the takedown request process as accessible and easy to use as possible for SMEs. But just so you know, and we won't go into it today in a lot of detail, we have very sophisticated proactive monitoring, offline protection, stakeholder collaboration that we've built up over those 20 years in an interest to be as targeted as possible, and I think as helpful as possible for small and medium-sized enterprises that might be on this webinar. Emily's going to stick really with the takedown requests part of that. I'm going to talk about some of the initiatives which are really aimed at making them as easy to use as possible for SMEs. So with that introduction, I will hand over to Emily, who's going to talk a little bit about how we do that. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ashley from Alibaba Platform Governance Department, and I'm in charge of the SME Advisory Committee, which is funded under the AAC umbrella.
Monsieur, I am really so sorry to interrupt you, but we have the same problem with your side again. Can you a bit speak closer to the microphone or a bit louder?
Okay. Could you hear me clear now?
Yes, much better now. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will introduce briefly about how you can enforce your rights on our Alibaba's IPP platform. First, I will introduce what is the IPP platform. It is shorted for Alibaba's IP protection platform. So you can log in on the website ipp.alibabagroup.com, which you could register an account and then find complaints on our platform if you find any of the infringing listings on our 7 major platforms, which including Taobao, Tmall, and Tmall Global, AliExpress, Alibaba.com, and 1688.com and Lazada, which our IPP platform has already covered these 7 major platforms on our business. And for Taobao and Tmall and 1688.com, it is major for the Chinese consumer and business. And for the AliExpress, Alibaba.com and Lazada, it's for the overseas and foreign consumers. So when you log into the platform, you can select one of the platform which you want to file a complaint. And how to protect your intellectual property rights on our platform. There are 4 major steps. The first step is first, you should register an account on our platform, and then you should upload your proof of your identity and the proof of your intellectual property rights. And once verified, we will have the platform to manage your IPR documents on our platform. And the third step, you should let us know where the infringement is. So when you file the complaints or notice and takedown, you should submit the relevant proof of evidence to show how the sellers or how the stores have infringed your rights and what kind of rights you are applied to protect it on our platform. And the fourth step, when using the platform to file the complaints, you could also use our platform to manage intellectual property rights enforcement. And I will elaborate step by step. And first of all, you should register an account on our IPP portal And here are some information you should fill in once registered. That is your country and your identity category, like which you are individual or enterprise, and your registrant category, whether you are right holder or you are an authorized agent, and you will send your you will leave your email and your number for us to contact you in the future. And after you has already registered account on our platform, the next step is to upload your IPR documents. You could see on the left column, My IPR. Here you could submit your different kinds of IPR documents. Like you could choose a type of IPR, whether it's a trademark or copyright or patent or other. And then you should choose the location of your IPR registration, which country your IPR was registered, and then upload your IPR documents here, and then save and then next. And after you upload your IPR documents, you could also use our platform to manage your IPR documents. You could say the status of authentication from our platform. For example, here you could see some of the documents are authenticated, and some of them failed, and some of them are withdrawn. You could see all the documents which you upload on our platform. And if some of the materials we need you to upload, we will send by the IPR email to the email which you leave when you register on the IPR account. And after that, when you find some of the infringing lists on our platform, you could start to file a complaint. And first, when you're filing a complaint for infringing listing, you should first select the complaint website, which the listings are. For example, choose Taobao or Tmall are the platform which you found the infringing listing. And then you should choose the IPR type of documents, what kind of IPR rights you are applied to protecting our platform. And then you should choose a complaint type, whether it's a product listing or storefront. And then you should choose the complaint reason, and then upload the document of proof of infringement to tell us where the infringements are. And then you should upload the infringing listings on this column, and then you could go for the next step and for our colleagues to see. And after you filing all the complaints, you could see all the status for the complaint here at manage my complaints here. And you could search by platform like Taobao, and by complaint type like product listing or storefront. And here you could see all the status of the historical complaint which you have filed on our platform. And for you to better understand how to enforce your rights on our IPP portal, now we have make an Alibaba Group intellectual property rights protection handbook, which is already in 7 different languages, which you can download on the home page of our IPP portal. And here, these handbooks are available in English, Italian, Spanish, French, and Germany, and Korea, and Japanese, and for 7 different kinds of handbook for different enterprises in different countries to better understand the rules and how to file complaints on our platform. And for this part, I will introduce our SME Support Center, which we are specially designed for SMEs to better enforce their rights on our platform. For which we noticed that SMEs encountered special difficulties and special problems when filing complaints on our platform. So when you log into the SME Support Center, you could find more information and more guidance on how you could enforce and protect your IPR rights with Alibaba. And on this SME specially designed program, I will introduce a Simpali program we specially designed for the SMEs all over the world. When you scroll down for the SME Help Center, you could see the program features for the Simpali programs. And this is what I want to introduce today for the Turkish SMEs. When you find some of the infringing listings on our platform, you could first apply for the Simpali program, and then you could have a more simplified and more easier complaint portal to file the complaints. And here are 4 program features for the Simpali program. The first one is a simplified notification, which we have simplified the complaint reason code from 22 to 6 on our town marketplaces, that is Taobao, Tmall, and Tmall Global. So if you didn't join the Simpali program, you will have to choose the complaint reason of 22, but now if you join this program, the complaint reason code has been simplified from 22 to 6. And the second one is the SME oriented customization, which means that we will do a lot of service for the SMEs to know what kind of the problems they encountered on their complaints, and then after analyzing the data and see the different problems from the different SMEs, we will have different ways to reach out and to answer their special questions for the SMEs when enforcing their rights. And the third one is enhanced communications. And the first one is dedicated activities, which I will show later on the next page. And for the reason code, which I has just elaborated just now, yes, you could see on this page for the trademark reasons. Now we have simplified from 11 to 3, which is counterfeit. The second one is improper use of rights holders trademark on products. And the third one is a proper use of rights holders trademark on product description page. And also for the copyright reason code, it's also simplified from 11 to 3, which is first one, privacy. And the second one is product infringe copyright works. And the third one is improper use of copyright owners' copyright owned works on product description page. And here are the simplified reason code on the Simpali program. And for the customization and enhanced communications, we will have outbound calls and target suggestions for the IPR protection, and also as well as the email communication and contact us column to reach out for the SME community members and to know their common their problems and their common issues they faced when they protect their IP rights on our platform, and to better know their needs and to have customized Q&As and other help desk materials for the SMEs. And also we will have different activities both online and offline. For example, the live stream training, and also we have some offline activities. We will introduce the SME committee member to join our online and offline activities to help them better enforce their rights. And how to join the Simpali program after so much information and introduction. First of all, you should log in the MSE Support Center and then scroll down to the Simpali Cooperation Program. And then you could click the button apply. And then you should log in your IPP account. So before you become a member of Simpali program, you should first register an account and then upload your IPR rights and your identity information for us to know who you are. And then you log in your account here, and then you could sign in, and then you could fill in your information to join the Simpali program, like your brand name and your contact email and commitment, and submit. After receive your your application, you will receive the email to notify that you have already been enrolled in the Simpali program. And at last, here are some takeaway points for you for your reference. The first is to sign up and use our IPP platform to enforce your IP rights, and we hope as many as SMEs from Turkey would be able to benefit from our Simpali program. And the second one, you could upgrade your IPP account with Simpali program. And if there's any questions with the application, you could contact us and send email to the IPR email or my personal email. And also, we will welcome CASA or the Turkish ambassador to have some information from the Turkish SMEs who have the needs to enforce their rights on our platform. You could collect their IPP accounts and their problem, and then send to us, and we could see whether they would be able to join this program. And the last one, you could visit to find more support and guidance to help the SMEs at our support center. And that's all of my presentation today. And thanks for your listening. And other questions?
Monsieur, really, it was so detailed, and we are happy that Alibaba is providing English website to protect IP rights for foreign companies. It's really impressive. But I have a question to Mick, if Mick is still with you.
Yeah, Mick is now in another meeting
Okay.
at 4 o'clock.
So we already provided 4 questions in advance, but
Yeah.
since you answered most of them, I would just like to ask one question.
Yeah, okay.
You know, there are some products which are infringed, but there are some products but not infringed, but not authorized to sell on platforms.
Mm-hmm.
They are both different issues. For example, I can collect some goods of a company from the market, from the offline market, and sell it on online. So in this case, in these kind of cases, what is the difference between infringement and non-authorized selling? And what is the measure for both? Can you just describe in detail? My question is that, let me repeat, if the goods are not infringed, but being sold by a non-authorized seller,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the measure? What is your definition for this kind of situations? What are you doing?
Yeah, I have got this question before the webinar. And as I just mentioned, for the Alibaba platform, we have domestic platform as well as overseas platform. For the domestic platform, as according to the Chinese law, the unauthorized selling is not illegal in Chinese law. So for the IPP complaints, we only receive this kind of complaints which constitute trademark infringement or other copyright infringement. But for the unauthorized selling on our platform, we could not see it as an IPR complaint. And for this kind of complaints, maybe we would advise the right holders to solve this kind of questions from civil litigation or other offline activities to protect their rights, and they could provide the platform with the civil litigation, the relevant legal paper to state that the seller is infringing their trademark right or copyright. When we receive this kind of legal documents, we could use as a proof of evidence on our online platform. But if the right holder only states that this kind of seller or this store is unauthorized from our side, we would not see it as a proper complaint on our platform. I hope that solves your problem. But for some of the countries like EU or other countries which the laws prescribes that unauthorized unauthorized selling is illegal, or they have different kind of legal basis, and we would welcome the right owners to provide us with the relevant legal documents or the state from the country as an proof or evidence for the complaint.
Okay, thank you. So if to summarize, we can say that an unauthorized selling is not an infringement, but still there may be some measures that the right holders can protect the goods to be sold online. But your department's part is not to protect this kind of right holders actions, but you only provide help to the infringed products.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Xu.
Yeah, thank you all for your listening. And hope in the future we could help more Turkish companies or SMEs to enforce their rights on our platform.
It was really very helpful. I guess our companies learned a lot, and they will learn a lot from your presentation. Now, I would like to give floor to Mr. Michael Chu, Senior Counsel of Compliance and IP of Pinduoduo Group. Mr. Chu, are you with us right now? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, welcome to today's event. Really, it's nice of you being here with us. So I give the floor to you, Mr. Chu.
Okay, thank you so much. So is my voice loud enough, just to make sure?
Your voice is now very good. Please go ahead.
Great. I'm going to share my presentation first. Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys are you guys able to see my screen? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, we are seeing.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Michael Chu. I'm the Senior IP Counsel and also Compliance Counsel at Pinduoduo. So I'm responsible for the IP protections and also other compliance matters of the group. Thank you so much for the invitation from the organizers, especially the Embassy of the Republic of Turkey, for inviting me to this webinar to introduce our platform and also our IP protection methods. I'm given like 15 minutes, which is limited in time, but I'm going to make full use of it to introduce two things to all the audience here. The first is who we are, and of course the second is how we prevent counterfeit and other IP infringements. Okay, so Pinduoduo actually was launched in 2015. So we have become a household name in China, but actually many people outside China still know very little about us. So in less than 6 years of time since our founding, we surprised the market to become the largest online retail platform by annual active buyers in 2020. So we now have 788 million annual active buyers on our platform, which is actually over 70% and already reaching like 80% of the population in China. Most of these active buyers turned into really engaged user on our platform. As you can see that we have a monthly active user of roughly 720 million. So our gross merchandise value last year was close to 1.7 trillion in Chinese dollar. That was roughly about 256 billion in US dollars. So that means on average, an annual active buyer on our platform spent 2,100 Chinese dollars on us each year. So that was about like 325 US dollars. So how do we achieve this early success in the 6 years? We believe that's because we tap into internet at the right time. So we tap into the new era of smartphones, social networks, and mobile payments. So to give consumer a brand new user experiences that was both fun and interactive. So as you can see, we are actually quite different from other e-commerce platforms because we are a mobile-only platform. So we don't have any e-commerce platform or websites. So people buy stuff and sell stuff on our mobile app only. We develop our business model on this basis because what we want to achieve is to make shopping more natural, engaging, convenient, and fun to our users on their smartphones. So from the very beginning, we adopt this interactive and discover-oriented recommendation feed model, which was fundamentally different from the traditional task-oriented search model adopted by other e-commerce platforms. So under our new business model, so shopping is more like going to the mall or a weekend market with your friends. So users come to our platform, browse in different categories and explore new products. So our algorithm actually refines the recommendations to surface more products that users are likely to have an interest in. So the conventional e-commerce platform are likely to be well-organized warehouses where you need to go into the warehouses, search according to the catalog or classifications, and you need to have a specific goal in mind. But ours is quite different. It's more like the offline shopping experiences of your everyday life, right? You don't really have a fixed target in mind, but you want to see what is interesting and what things that you may need. So you go to our platform, looking at our recommendations, sharing it with your friends, and then you form a team to purchase the product at a valuable price. So that is us, Pinduoduo, which means user engagement, demand aggregations, and the better understanding of users. From these introductions, you guys could probably have a very rough idea of us, that we rely on users' trust to develop our business, because we need to have the users to come to our platform comfortable with buying the stuff, comfortable with sharing the product information or the product recommendations with their friends and family, so to expand the product or aggregate all the demand. And so we fully understand.
Michael, I am so sorry to interrupt you. We have the same problem with you. Can you speak a bit louder than usual?
Sure.
Your speech more clear.
Sure.
Thank you.
So we fully understand that counterfeit is the issue that would make us lose the trust of the users. Because if a user experiences counterfeit or other IP infringement on our platform, they will not be able to believe us anymore, and they will stop sharing the product information with their friends and family. So then the experience will no longer be fun and will no longer be a family activity. So we put our emphasis on anti-counterfeiting at the very first day of our operations. So our strategy towards anti-counterfeiting can be summed up in this PowerPoint slide in 3 principles. So the first is that we take proactive measure against counterfeit products. So we don't just wait for complaints from rights holders or brands to take actions. Instead, we have designed our own screening rules both against the merchants and also the products to make sure that only good products can surface on our platform and can be shown to the consumers. We also have incorporated different measures to make sure that we ask merchants to provide a lot of information before they can even open a store on our platform. We have set up this blacklist system where when we found counterfeit seller, we will put them into the blacklist and they will no longer be able to operate or open another store on our platform. So we design computerized algorithm so that we are able to screen check each product listing on our platform to see if there is any trace that they are counterfeit or IP infringing products. And last but not least, we also have this bilingual IP protection takedown system available to all rights holder for submitting IP infringement complaints. Although we only operate in China and our e-commerce platform interface is in Chinese only, we especially set up an English IP protection platform so that overseas rights holder would be able to make use of this platform to submit complaints, because like Matthias said in his presentations, I believe overseas rights holder, even if they don't understand Chinese, they are still able to use picture photos to identify if there are any similar products, knockoff or other infringing activities, and submit the complaints accordingly. So in addition to the proactive measures, we punish the counterfeiter really hard. With our strict enforcement, we have this pioneering 10 times compensation policy, which we require counterfeiter, once we confirm their illegal activity, they have to compensate each buyer 10 times of the value of the product. So if there was a buyer who bought the product at $10, the counterfeiter has to compensate such buyer $100 to compensate their loss and damage. That is a really very strict punishment against the counterfeiter, because usually in Chinese law, the court is imposing 3 times compensations against the counterfeiter. But we want to make a clear statement to all the counterfeiter that our platform doesn't allow counterfeit selling. And if we found them to be engaging in such activity, all the possible profit they made in the past would be gone immediately. Apart from the first two, we also believe that anti-counterfeiting is a two-way approach. So you are looking for counterfeiter, you are trying to get rid of them, you are trying to take action against them. But counterfeiter would always look for ways to penetrate all these rules and always try to find a way to set up a store and sell counterfeit on the platform. So on the other side, we believe it's actually very helpful and important that we are able to identify the good merchants, the credible ones selling their own products, selling value for money products, and we are able to give them subsidy and help and assistance for them to make a good business on our platform, to thrive on our platform. So we also adopt this subsidy program that once for those sellers that are able to provide a very full list of supporting documents, including their IP certificate, including maintaining a very good selling history, then we will be able to offer them more commercial incentive or assistance, including traffic, including even money subsidy, so that their product can be exposed or recommended to more consumer on our platform, and they can achieve a better sales and eventually prevail over all other not so good or the bad merchants. So these graphs actually shows a timeline of the different measures that we invented or that we adopted to protect IP. So from the very beginning, we have this proactive menu screening, as I mentioned, and also the 10 times compensation, as I mentioned. Over the years, we have the merchant blacklist, we have the online portal, that I will explain next in a few minutes. And we partner with different organizations, including CASA and also China IPR Helpdesk, which are very helpful organizations that offer a range of different tools and training to overseas and also local brands and also right holders. We also partner with the police because we do not just stop within our platform. We want to make use of the information or the data we collected from our platform and provide these data to the police or the offline enforcement so that we are able to dismantle the entire supply chain of counterfeit, because getting rid of one store may not be able to deter the counterfeiter. As Matthias said, counterfeiter may well just go to another platform and open another store and operate from there. So we want to be able to identify the counterfeiter in real person, also to locate the warehouses, the manufacturing facilities, so that we can put them behind bar and also to get rid of all these producing facilities. In 2019, we upgrade our portal, as I said, to the English version as well. In the past 2 years, we see very positive results from the overseas brand owners. They like it. They think it's more convenient now because they no longer really necessary to find a local agent to conduct this searching or also this takedown request. They can do it on their own. I mean, it needs time to get used to the system and also the platform, but now it's a viable route for them. We also have this brand care program, which we have a customized screening algorithm with the partnership with our brands, so that it can be more accurate, more efficient, and faster. So here are the 10 steps that we fight counterfeit. From the very beginning, when a merchant tried to open a store on our platform, to the very end that we partner with police and we partner with brands to make sure that the offline enforcement can achieve success results. Due to the time limitations, I won't go into too much details about this. But I would just highlight a couple of points. The first thing is about the information that we collect from the merchants. I think in China, we see infringing activity as a very serious matter. So to prevent this, we actually ask the merchants to provide their personal information, including their personal ID card. Is like the passport in China. We ask them to provide their residential address, their correspondence address, their mobile number, their bank account information, so that once we are able to find that they are counterfeit, we are able to provide these valuable information to the offline enforcement so that they could track them down and also to use these as evidences to prove their illegal activities. This collection of the information alone also serves as a deterrence factor against these merchants, because when they provide these information, they know that they are not behind the screen, they are not in the dark anymore. All these information are actually provided to the platform and maybe shared with the brand owners and also with the police, so that they will be more careful. They will have less incentive to sell infringing products on our platform. As we said, we also have our proactive measures, which we design computer screening rules to make sure that the products provided or offer on our platform are reasonable products. So they are not unreasonable or obviously fake products. I mean, every product has a reasonable price range, right? For a pair of Nike shoes, for example, it won't be possible to find a $1 pair Nike shoes per pair, right? So any merchant uploading a $1 Nike shoes are suspicious, and that's how our algorithm play in parts. So we look for these kind of products selling at unreasonably low prices, and then to confirm if they are counterfeit. So once they are counterfeit, we don't allow them to be shown on the platform. We don't allow them to be sold recommended to any consumers. We block them, we remove them, and we put our eyes and we focus on the merchants trying to sell these products. So in 2020, this strategy has been very successful. As you can see on the screen, we are able to block over close to 100 million product listing application just for the first 7 months of 2020. We removed 750,000 product listing, which we suspect is IP infringing products. And we also sanctioned 885,000 merchants due to suspected infringing activities. So here comes to our bilingual IP protection platform. The link is ipp.pinduoduo.com. So our target is to make the platform as self-explanatory as possible. so that each rights holder, each company can come to our platform and do the entire process, finish the entire process on their own. So we provide different guidelines. We have a video tutorial, which we guide you through each step, step by step. So there are 3 steps. You just open an account, register your IP, and then you can submit complaint right away. So for each step, we have a video tutorial so that you can follow. It's all in English. It's we also have this FAQ so that we anticipate, or in the past we receive queries about some of the steps or some of the details, and then we put all of them and summarize them and try to give easy answer to each of the issues, so that if there is any new brand owners encountering the same problem, they could actually find the answer from the FAQ section as well.
Thank you so much, Michael. It was very detailed information. And in this regard, I would like to ask you the same question. How does your platform define an unfringed good and unauthorized good? And how do you react in this kind of situations? Do you ask companies to provide their authorization from the rights holder, or just in the case of there is a complaint, you take action? Can you give some details about your process?
Sure. I think on these issues, we are aligned with Ms. Xu's position as well. I mean, in China, resale of products is allowed, so it does not constitute an infringement of the IP owner's rights. But there are 2 situations, right? So if you are selling trademark infringement or counterfeit product, that's an infringement of the IP rights. But if you are just reselling the products with accurate representation and description, that's allowed under the Chinese law, and that's the rights of the person or the merchant to conduct such business. What we do not allow them to do is to claim themselves as an authorized seller. So without the authorization letter from the brand owners or the IP holder, you cannot hold out to all the consumers saying that you are authorized, because a lot of consumers actually have a preferences to buy products from the authorized seller, right? Because that will be a guarantee of authenticity, guarantee of after sales services, something like that. So we are focusing on 2 things. 1, there should not be any IP infringement, and 2, there should not be any misrepresentation of your authorizations. So all of our merchants are requested to comply with these 2 core principles.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Okay.
Thanks for being with us. And in the case that if our companies have any problem, we will forward them to this ippindodo.com CPP index address.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I would like to give the floor Ms. Hua Zhang, Deputy Director, Brand Protection of JD Group. Ms. Hua, are you with us right now?
Am I on?
Yes, we cannot hear you clearly, Ms. Hua. Can you speak a bit closer and loudly?
Sure, I will.
Okay, welcome to our event. Thanks for being with us. It's nice of you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us to this prestigious event. Thank you for the Turkish Embassy, CASA, and EU Helpdesk and other colleagues online. I would like to briefly introduce Jingdong's IP protection measures. Well, established in 2004, Jingdong has built a very comprehensive and systematic IP measures. I will introduce these measures from the following aspect: the qualification examination of the store, the daily active inspection, and the notice takedown system, and a very special test purchase project for the counterfeits. As the first step to prevent IP infringement, before setting up a store in Jingdong, the sellers will be strictly checked on their registration information. Well, its registration information has to be filtered by the RedNet. RedNet is actually a kind of database keeps bad record, in which the data is divided into 2 categories. The first is the legal person or man body's information, which had been recorded for selling fakes on Jingdong, and such sellers will be strictly blocked. And the second type of data is the fake-related information, such as the suspicious telephone number, email address, etc. Such information is generally provided by the IPR owners and the law enforcement authorities. So if the second type of information is detected, we will mark the seller and pay close attention to it in the daily inspection process. The second measure is to do the background check. We will ask the seller to provide authorization or qualification certificate. If there is no such document or such document is forged, we will reject its access. In addition, all suppliers and third-party sellers of Jingdong must accept background survey or field investigation. The background survey is mostly handled by a third-party company employed by Jingdong, and Jingdong will also conduct field investigation for some of the suppliers of the self-operated stores. And the third measure is to restrict the seller by signing the user agreements, specifying the punishment against infringing behaviors. Meanwhile, it will also provide special educational session to strengthen the policy of zero tolerance of fake goods. In addition to the strict qualification review, Jingdong has also proactively conducted inspections on infringing and counterfeit goods, which is permitted in all aspects of the platform management. The first is the special quality control team conduct a daily audit on the web page, mainly by using the keyword screening and image inspections. We can find suspicious infringing products on the platform, and then manually reviews the product listings and finally removes the infringing products. The second, we will use the blockchain technology to guarantee the trustful resources of product. Thirdly, all the public reviews and comments, no matter they are the consumer complaints received by the platform or the comments mentioning about counterfeits listed in each product, or some other discussions of Jingdong commodities on other platforms such as TikTok, Microblog, and Red are under our radar. And fourth is through our daily inspection in Jingdong's warehouse, and even by inviting the IPR owners to check the warehouse directly, we actively find possible counterfeits and infringing products. And I would like to mention some technologies that use in the routine proactive inspections. The first is the keyword screening system. As we mentioned, the seller is required to provide trademark authorization document before entering Jingdong. If a seller uses reputable trademarks in the product titles or descriptions, which could not match the trademarks that the seller is authorized to sell, the listings could not be uploaded. Another technology is used in our routine proactive inspection. It's called 爱图生. It's our self-developed image inspection system. For better protecting the reputable trademarks, we have trained the system by searching the trademark in product pictures. So by this way, even if the reputable trademark in the product title or descriptions are not shown, the system can still find the suspected infringement in the product pictures. We also use the blockchain technology to trace the product. We developed the smart chain platform to monitor the whole process from the product manufacturing, shipping, storing, and delivering to the terminal consumers. So currently, it's mainly being used on agriculture products, luxury goods, wines, and so on. Jingdong's online notice and takedown system was established in 2015. The address is IPR.jd.com. We also have an English version. It's at enipr.jd.com. More than 500 listings can be accepted in one complaint, and the current listing of the qualified notification will be taken down within 24 hours. We also provide an email, jdipr@jd.com, as a supplement channel for IPR owners if they encounter any problems when they are using the online platform. JD IPR protection platform is applicable to a series of platforms under JD, including JD.com, JD International, Jingdong Jingxi, and number stores. Well, all the infringing products on these platforms can be reported through the same protection system. Now, this shows the notice and takedown process for infringing complaints. After registration, IPR owners can start to file complaints against trademark, patent, and copyright infringement. The system will delete the infringing listings automatically within 24 hours upon receipt of a qualifying notification. Then the system will inform the respondent to provide counter notice. And below, I would like to introduce a task purchase program, which is specially designed for eliminating counterfeits on the platform and customized for each IPR owners. First of all, we still want to retaliate Jingdong's attitude and strategy towards counterfeits. Our attitude toward counterfeits is very clear. It's zero tolerance. And next, I would like to introduce this test purchase program. We detect the high-risk products on Jingdong.com through our algorithm. Then the notarized purchase to the sample by using anonymous account will be conducted. And the purchase sample will be mailed to the rights holder for identification. If the sample is deemed as counterfeit, we will provide preliminary information to the rights holders for evaluation on whether it is worthy of conducting further actions, for example, criminal or administrative actions. If the rights holder decide to conduct further action, we will be willing to assist it. Otherwise, we will shut down the related store and make punishment according to the platform's rule. Please note that all the cost on purchasing samples and notarizations will be afforded by Jingdong. So in this process, we applied some technical means to facilitate the purchase analysis. Firstly, it's the heaven mirror. It's a technology measure is used to detect suspicious counterfeit. Through the technologies of data algorithm, image recognition, natural semantic recognition, machine learning, etc., we can do real-time evaluation on hundreds of millions of commodities on the platform. When a listing is listed as risky, it will be automatically pushed to our investigator for a manual check. Then our investigator will make a decision on whether to buy the product or not. Meanwhile, we will send the sample identification result back to the heaven mirror system. So the system can learn the characteristics of such goods and constantly improve the ability to detect the counterfeits. Also, as I mentioned in the process of purchase, the Hawkeye system is our analysis system, which is to achieve an expansion of the information. For example, if we put a telephone number into the Hawkeye, it can find all the telephone number together with the name of the salesperson, the related store, and the sales information, and so on. These data are very helpful to support the right holders and law enforcement agencies when an offline investigation is conducted. In terms of the operation and control of the purchase account in this program, we found in practice that some counterfeit sellers have built their own risk control system to distinguish our professional investigators from a normal consumer by the ways that the buyers enter the store and the time they stay in the store. This increases the risk of being identified. Therefore, we develop a set of strict procurement rules prescribing on how to enter the store, how long the browsing time is, and whether to use the coupon or not. The second, we also found that some sellers would keen to deliver fakes to the not very developed regions because consumers' consciousness on consumers' rights are not very strong, and the ability to identify fake is relatively low. Therefore, we create more than 300 purchase accounts dispatched in more than 30 cities. 70% of them are located in the third or fourth layer cities. In addition, we also keep on monitoring the risk of the account. Once we found that they may be exposed, we will stop using it in time to guarantee a smooth procurement. So in terms of the evidence preservation of the purchase process. Because the punishment against counterfeits are very severe, so we require solid and sufficient evidence. The whole purchase process is notarized. We also have a special task force of brand protection comprising of professional investigators, legal expert, data research, and the development expert to support the entire buying process. Our colleagues who are former policemen are standing by to support the offline criminal cases. We're also deeply aware that IP protection is a common challenge faced by the whole society, which cannot be achieved without the empowerment of all parties. Therefore, we have established cooperative relationships with many brand owners, law enforcement agencies, and some associates since 2018, when the program was launched. Through the publicity and communication with these partners, we try to reach a win-win situation for all parties involved. So here is our contact information that for IP infringement complaints, any questions relating to the IPP or notice takedown system, please use IPR@jd.com. Anything that relating to counterfeit complaints, please use daja@jd.com. So the above is an introduction of JD's intellectual property protection system. We hope that by providing a clean, healthy, and safe IP environment on our platform, we can encourage more foreign enterprises to set up stores in Jingdong and to promote the bilateral trade together. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Hua, thanks so much for your informative presentation. And in this case, I would like to ask you the same question to clarify your approach to the unauthorized selling and infringed product. In this case, please let me repeat my question, how you think about it. If a company is selling an non-infringed, a real product, but non-authorized, in this case, how do you react?
Well, our opinion is pretty much the same as the former two platforms, that unauthorized selling is not an IP issue. In our opinion, it's more like a breach of contract between sellers and its distributors. So the unauthorized distributors might be selling generic goods. The trademark infringement refers to that someone unauthorized use of the other's trademark on its own identical or similar goods. For unauthorized selling, since sellers, which is a different, this way is a little bit different from the other two platforms, that since sellers in most of all categories of goods on Jingdong, when I say Jingdong means Jingdong.com is the platform that within China that we require authorization document before the stores is set up. So if the complainant can file a complaint against the unauthorized seller through email daja@jingdong.com, and we will coordinate with our colleague who are in charge of examining the authorization document to deal with the complaint. For the trademark or copyright or patent infringement, then please use our online IPR complaint channel, ipr.jd.com.
Thank you, Ms. Hua, again for this comprehensive answer. And I would like to thank all participants, Ms. Jennifer Sao and Mr. Matthias from EU SME Center, Ms. Rose Hua from CASA, Anti-Counterfeit Innovation Strategic Alliance, Ms. Xu Yang and Mick from Brand Protection Cooperation Platform of Alibaba, and Mr. Michael Chu from Pinduoduo, and Ms. Hua Zhang, Deputy Director of Brand Protection of JD Group. Now, we would like to go ahead in Turkish to inform our Turkish companies who were not familiar with English very well. So I would like to give the floor Chief Commercial Counsellor of Turkish Embassy, Office of the Commercial Counsellor, Mr. Hakan Kızartıcı. And thanks all the participants again.
I would like to thank to you as well, Mr. Ur, for taking this initiative for this very useful and helpful webinar. Of course, I again would like to thank all the speakers for all these detailed and helpful presentations. Now I feel much safer, in fact. You know, all of us know the importance of this IP protection. I think the audience of Turkish companies finds this useful as well. Thank you very much for all your efforts.
Now let's go ahead with Turkish. Evet, Sayın Kızartıcı, Hakan Bey, son günlerde çok ilginç bir şekilde Türkiye'deki çok küçük firmalarımızın bile isimlerinin kaydedildiğini ve marka ile ilgili sorun yaşadıklarını görüyoruz. Yani bu marka tescil işlemi Çin'de umduğumuzdan daha büyük bir çözülmesi gereken soruna dönüşüyor son dönemde özellikle. Bu konuyla ilgili olarak peki ticaret müşavirliğimizin tecrübelerinden kısaca bahsedip firmalarımıza önerilerinizi sıralar mısınız?
Teşekkür ediyorum Uğur Bey. Şimdi aslında katılımcıların bir kısmını tanıyorum. Onlar da hem firma hem bazı birlik ve STK temsilcilerimiz olarak bu sorunları birebir yaşıyorlar. Şimdi bizim en temel amacımız doğal olarak Çin pazarına daha fazla penetrasyon sağlamak, daha fazla firmamızın burada yer almasını sağlamak. Tabii ki başta KOBİ'lerimiz olmak üzere. Ancak bunu yaparken her hal ve şart altında çok dikkat etmemiz gereken bu marka tescil ve koruma sıkıntılarını göz önünde bulundurmamız lazım. Yani hemen amiyane ifadesiyle paldır küldür Çin pazarına girmek yerine önce gerekli hazırlıkları yapıp, koruma hazırlıklarından bahsediyorum. Ondan sonrasında markete kendimizi göstermemiz lazım. Aksi takdirde biraz önce söylediğiniz gibi daha pazara giremeden kötü niyetli birilerinin eline düşmüş oluyoruz. Dolayısıyla aynen biraz önce söylediğiniz gibi son dönemlerde sadece büyük Türkiye'de ve kendi bölgemizde bilinen markalarımız değil, daha küçük markalarımız dahi burada bu sorunla karşılaşmaya başladı. O yüzden de bu seminer için, webinar için size ayrıca çok teşekkür ediyorum. Bu konuyla ilgili olarak öncülük yaptığınız için, bu webinarı organize ettiğiniz için Uğur Bey. Dolayısıyla en başa dönecek olursak her hal ve şart altında Çin pazarının önemi aşikar ama lütfen daha pazara girmeden önce koruma gereksinimlerini yerine getirmiş olmamız lazım. Aksi takdirde daha maç başlamadan yenilmiş oluyoruz. Koskoca Çin pazarını baştan kaybetmiş oluyoruz veya da biraz önce söylediğimiz o kötü niyetli bazı amiyane ifadesiyle uyanıkların eline düşmüş oluyoruz. Ya onların şartlarıyla Çin pazarına girmek zorunda kalıyoruz ki istediğimiz bir şey değil, ya da Çin pazarını unutmak durumunda kalıyoruz en azından bir süreliğine. Çünkü biliyorsunuz marka korunması ile ilgili hukuki süreçler zaman alan süreçler ve de mutlak surette davanın kazanılacağının da garantisi olmadığını düşündüğünüz zaman özellikle Çince Türkiye'de çok fazla bilinen bir dil değil. Dil engelli, bütün dünya için geçerli olan dil engelinin önemini dikkate aldığımız zaman her hal ve şart altında çok baştan hazırlıkların yapılması önem taşıyor. Burada şunu da özellikle söylemek istiyorum. Şimdi Türkiye'de ister istemez şöyle bir algı bazı firmalarımızda var. İşte Çin malları çok kaliteli bulunmadığı için veya ucuz mallar olarak hala bazıları tarafından değerlendirildiği için Çin'in firmalarının yabancı markaları taklit ettiği. Ancak şunu göz önünde bulundurmamız lazım. Çin bundan 10 sene önceki Çin değil, bundan 5 sene önceki Çin değil. Hızla özellikle marka korunması konusunu ilerletiyorlar. Dolayısıyla Çin artık marka korunması, telif haklarının korunması konusunda uluslararası standartlara kendisini yükseltmeye çalışıyor ve büyük de mesafe aldı. Dolayısıyla Çin pazarından bu açıdan korkmadan ilerlememiz lazım. Çok olağanüstü rakamlardan da bahsetmiyoruz. İster istemez WIPO olsun ve diğer gelişmiş Batı ülkelerindeki ulusal patent enstitülerinin rakamlarını düşündüğünüz zaman Çin'deki rakamların çok pahalı olmadığını kolaylıkla söyleyebiliriz. Yaklaşık 2000 RMB'dir bunun tutarı. Yani Türk parasıyla kabaca 2500 liradır marka kayıt ücreti. Dolayısıyla gözünüzde firmalarımızın gözünde bu süreci ve de bu maliyeti büyütmemesi gerekir. Dolayısıyla yeter ki Çin pazarını hedef olarak belirleyelim ve de biz burada lütfen ilerlemeden önce müşavirliğimizle temas kurun. Sorularınız varsa lütfen bize iletin. Biz elimizden geldiğince gerek sizi yönlendirecek ilgili firmalar anlamında, gerek bilgilendirme anlamında. İşte bugün yaptığımız gibi Avrupa Birliği SME Center'ıyla çok iyi ilişkilerimiz var. Gerek onlardan destek alma anlamında, gerekse bugün 3 tane Çin'in en büyük elektronik ticaret platformunun temsilcilerini, bu konuyla ilgili temsilcilerini buraya getirdik. Şu anda hepiniz kişisel olarak her bir platform için kimle temasa geçilmesi gerektiğini de biliyorsunuz. Bizler EU SME Center ve ilgili firmaların temsilcileriyle temas kurmanızı her halükarda öneriyorum. Teşekkür ederim Uğur Bey.
Hakan Bey, biz de detaylı bilgiler için teşekkür ederiz. Söylediklerinizin altından sadece şunu çizmek istiyorum. Çin'de marka korumak çok da zahmetli ve maliyetli bir süreç değil. O nedenle firmalarımız bu konuda cesaretli olmalarında fayda var. Tamam. Teşekkür ederim Hakan Bey. Sizin ekleyeceğiniz başka bir şey yoksa Sezgin Bey'e geçeceğim Hakan Bey.
Yok, teşekkür ederim. Ağzınıza sağlık.
Tamam. Sezgin Bey.
Merhaba.
Sezgin Bey, sesiniz biraz düşük geliyor ama siz bizi duyabiliyorsanız size de Ticaret Bakanlığı'ndaki geçmiş tecrübelerinize dayanarak bakanlığımızın sunduğu marka destekleriyle ilgili olarak kısaca bilgilendirme yapmanızı rica ediyoruz.
Duyabiliyor musunuz beni acaba?
Biraz az ama duyabiliyoruz.
Herkese merhaba. Çok yararlı sunumlar oldu. Teşekkürler Uğur Bey organizasyon için. Öncelikle marka desteklerini çok kısa, ben de Çin'de büyüyen e-ticaret pazarına ilişkin çok kısa birkaç bilgi vermek isterim. Zaten gördüğünüz gibi bugün sunumda da Çin'in farklı e-ticaret platformlarında konuyla ilgili kişiler IP protection ile ilgili olarak detaylı bilgileri aktardılar. Bugün itibariyle e-ticaret pazarı Çin'de genel olarak 2 trilyon doları aşmış durumda. İthal ürünlerin pazarı anlamında ise 150 milyar dolar seviyesine gelmiş durumda. Yani 2020 yılında 150 milyar dolar ithal ürün e-ticaret platformları üzerinden Çin pazarında alıcılarıyla birlikte. Bunu neden önemsiyoruz? Çünkü aslına baktığımızda IP protection online platformlarında bu seviyeye gelmesinin sebebi pazarın çok hızlı bir şekilde büyümesi. Ve büyüyen pazar da birçok markayı doğal olarak kendi markalarını korunması, aynı şekilde kopyalamanın önüne geçilmesi, satış konusunda kendilerini daha rahat tutmaları konusunda da ihtiyaç bakımı içinde önlemler almış durumda ve bu alınan önlemler bu ihtimalle gördüğünüz gibi aslında tamamen üretici lehine. Ticaret Bakanlığımız da doğal olarak marka konusuna en başından beri önem verir. Bu kapsamda zaten yapılan harcamalarda değişen oranlarda ülkeye göre desteklenmektedir. Bu kapsamda siz de bakanlığımızda bizlere her zaman başvurabilirsiniz ki başvurmanızda da fayda var.
Sezgin Bey, bu soruya ilaveten sizin geçmiş dönemde hazırladığınız bir e-ticaret raporuna dayanarak Çin'in e-ticaret pazarı ile ilgili olarak genel verdiğiniz bilgileri biraz daha detaylandırmanızı rica ediyoruz. Bu 3 platform dışında Çin'de birçok yerel platformda bulunmakla beraber sizce hangi firmalarımız için Çin'de bizzat kendilerinin gelip ticaret yapması, e-ticaret platformlarında yer alması mantıklıyken hangi çeşit firmalarımız için Çin'de bir partnerle yürümelerinin daha mantıklı olduğunu düşünüyorsunuz genel olarak?
Tekrar teşekkürler Uğur Bey. Aslına baktığımızda e-ticaret, Çin'deki e-ticaret pazarıyla ilgili olarak hem bakanlığımızda hem de müsaadelerimizce hem mülkiyet olarak yani Alibaba grup başta olmak üzere JD ile de toplantılar düzenlendi. Sunulan imkanlar aktarıldı. Aynı zamanda kozmetik sektörü üzerinde bir toplantı gerçekleştirildi. Yani Çin'in e-ticaret pazarı bugüne kadar katılımcılara baktığımda birçok katılımcının aynı zamanda bu toplantıları takip ettiğini görüyoruz. Tabii Çin'deki e-ticaret pazarı da dünyadaki aslına baktığımızda e-ticaret pazarına yani tüketilen ürünler anlamında benzerlikler gösteriyor. Ne anlamda bunu söylüyoruz? İlk sırada tabii ki dünyada olduğu gibi kozmetik ürünleri yer alıyor. Kozmetik ürünler özellikle ithal ürünleri anlamında pazarın en kapsamlı ürünlerini içeriyor. Elektronik ürünler tabii bunun yanında önemli bir yere sahip. Ama buna ilave olarak şunu söylememiz gerekiyor. Çin'deki e-ticaret pazarı sadece bugün burada en büyük oyuncuları var ama bunun yanına her gün yeni platformlar ekleniyor. Bunun yanı sıra online satışlar artmakta, farklı platformlar ortaya çıkmakta. Burada sektörel ayrım açıkçası nihai tüketiciye yönelik her türlü ürünün e-ticaret platformunda bir şekilde yeri var. Bunu söylememiz gerekiyor. Kimi firmalarımız, başarılı ulaşan firmalarımız ilk başta Çinli ortaklarla ilerledi. Belirli bir aşamaya geldikten sonra bu firmalarımızdan bazıları kendileri artık platformdaki mağazaları kendileri yürütmeyi tercih etti. Bazı firmalarımız doğrudan kendileri platformlarda mağazalarını açtı. Bu bir tercihtir. Bugüne kadar çalıştıkları firmalar varsa tabii ki ve belirli bir güven ilişkisi kurulmuşsa o firmalara da ilerlemek mümkündür. Ama aynı zamanda biz her zaman firmalarımızın kendilerinin mağazalar açmasını ve işletmesini tavsiye ediyoruz.
Tamam. Sezgin Bey çok teşekkür ederiz bilgilendirmeleriniz için. Konuklarımız adına Çin'deki tecrübesine binaen Murat Kolbaşı Bey'e de söz vermek üzere ulaşmaya çalıştık ama teknik olarak sanırım şu anda bunu yapabilmemiz mümkün değil. Ben tüm katılımcılara, bakanlığımız temsilcilerine, Hakan Bey'e, Sezgin Bey'e bu toplantıdaki katkılarından dolayı teşekkür ediyorum. Her türlü sorunlarınız için Pekin Ticaret Müşavirliğimize marka ile ilgili veyahut da ilintili hukuki sorunlarla ilgili ulaşabileceğinizden ve her an yardım alabileceğinizden kuşkunuz olmasın. Herkese iyi günler, iyi çalışmalar diliyorum.
İyi günler, hoşça kalın.